Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. We're going to talk about the Week 12, the whole weekend on DraftKings. We got how many games are on this slate? We got a 10-game slate. It's the Thanksgiving week. Hopefully you guys did well or are going to do well, depending on if you're watching this before the Thanksgiving slate comes out or after Thursday when the Thanksgiving slate is already done. Hopefully you are going to have or had a great Thanksgiving. But this is my first look for Week 12 on DraftKings. So, appreciate you guys being here. Please drop a like on this video. If we can get over 1,000 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Thank you very much for showing up once again. If you're here for the first time, please click the subscribe button. Make sure you ring the notifications bell so you can be notified anytime that I come out with new content here on YouTube.com. Why don't we just get to the lineups here? We got I got the Millie Maker up for you. $3 million, $1 million to first, $20 entry fee. Same as always. Same as it ever was. At quarterback, typically I like to spend down. You guys know this. Nothing new there, right? So Tom Brady, 6,500. He's been up and down, visiting New York. Andrew Luck has been actually outstanding. Miami appears to be a tough defense, but they appear that way because they play super duper slow. This is a big pace up spot for them with the Colts playing extremely fast. Andrew Luck with at least one touchdown in every game and multiple touchdowns in every game except one, and that was against Philly in Week 3, which is strange considering how many touchdowns Philly gives up through the air. But look at this, 79%, 72% completion rate, 71%, 73.9% completion rate. Volume is not the most important thing when it comes to scoring for quarterbacks. Efficiency is way more important. You look at how efficient Drew Brees has been with touchdown to interception ratio. You look at how efficient Drew Brees and Andrew Luck have been with their completion percentages, especially this year. And it's not shocking to see that he's basically sitting above 20 points every week since Week 4. He definitely has a high ceiling. We need him to get over 300 yards. The emergence of the running game kind of sucks a little bit, I won't lie. And his rushing has not been there this year, even though he has the ability. He has not been running anywhere close this year to what he used to in the past, but his passing game has been absolutely outstanding. Ben Roethlisberger on the road against Denver, I'm probably going to pass. Cam Newton against Seattle, I'm intrigued with at 6,200, especially as much as he's been passing ball, but they kind of neutered his running the past few weeks a little bit. He has not been handling the ball around the goal line. Phillip Rivers against Arizona, mostly giving against running backs, so Melvin Gordon III is somebody that I'm considering. Lamar Jackson with a healthy bump. Considering the game that he had last week when he rushed it 27 freaking times, now he gets Oakland, so it's not as though he gets a tougher opponent. Oakland and Cincinnati, two of the worst defenses in the league. I think they're going to struggle to stop Lamar Jackson. I think that he's in play at 5,700, especially if you can't stomach paying for Jameis Winston. The Buccaneers, one of the best team quarterback situations on the season, but as much as they're pulling the hokey pokey and kind of putting Jameis in and then pulling Jameis out and then putting Fitzmagic in and then pulling Fitzmagic out, I don't know that we can trust them on a game-to-game basis. However, they do throw for a ton of yards. They throw the ball over 70% of the time. They're passing the ball. 80% plus of their yards have come via the passing game. So the Buccaneers have this really high floor. They're playing at home in terms of their quarterback play, but realize there is risk here. At 6,000 versus Lamar Jackson, I probably still prefer Lamar Jackson. Is there anybody really cheap that I'm interested in? Not really. I mean, I kind of just want to plug Lamar Jackson and move on, at least for first look. You know that you're going to get rushes. 27, probably not. But he had 19 fantasy points last week without scoring a touchdown and turning the ball over twice. You realize how hard that is to do? Even if he comes down and only runs for 80 yards, if he throws for 150 just like last week, but oopses his way into one touchdown, John Brown breaks one, right? On a play action, he's wide open behind the defense, and Lamar floats one out there and lets John Brown run under it, scores one touchdown there, and then he runs in a 5-yarder on a read option. All of a sudden, he has smashed his salary expectation with well over 20 fantasy points. The paths for him to reach salary, the paths for him to reach value territory are so high based on how they're going to have to run this offense if Joe Flacco is out for one more week. For right now, I'm going to plug Lamar Jackson. If I have to pivot, I'll pivot. High dollar running backs. Saquon Barkley, over 91, over 9,000 at 9,100 against Philly. You beat Philly through the air. Probably going to prefer Odell Beckham here, but Saquon Barkley is as solid and as consistent as they come in terms of fantasy output. This is not a bad spot for him, or as bad a spot as people want to make it out, because of the volume that he gets. Again, he'll be less efficient here, but if he's less efficient on the ground, they're just going to throw it to him through the air. Check these 3 games here when he only rushed the ball less than 15 times, but saw double-digit targets in all those games. You're getting a wide receiver dressed up like a running back, as well as getting a running back who's getting 15 carries on the ground. Melvin Gordon, to me, looks like the plug-and-play against Arizona, with as much usage as he's getting in the passing game, as solid as he's been on the ground, and as much usage as he gets inside the red zone. That's where I want to start this lineup. We're going to look for a couple of value plays. Last week, I was wrong about Peyton Barber. He did pay off his salary, so apologies if I told you not to play Peyton Barber last week. I just could not deal with it. He's going to grade out well this week. Looking at some of the other high-priced guys, though, Christian McCaffrey at 7,900 should see a bunch of passes out of the backfield, as he's done all year, and he's getting, middle-teen looks on the ground. This type of usage is rare. This is Alvin Kamara usage from 2017. And we're getting Alvin Kamara type numbers from 2017. We're getting them on an every week basis, right? Between 5 and 10 targets pretty much every single week, getting 12 to 15 carries pretty much every single week. And he's only 7,900 at home in a game where they're favored. David Johnson getting the usage that we want, albeit on the road with Joey Bosa back against the Los Angeles Chargers. I didn't say San Diego, chat. What do you think? Probably not going to go with David Johnson in cash this week. I do think he's viable in tournaments, though. Joe Mixon, up and down. Against Cleveland, though, we might have to buy in. The up and down, meaning his volume is up and down. I can't predict Joe Mixon's volume on a week-in, week-out basis. And this is my issue. If we just looked at Christian McCaffrey, who essentially gets the same usage in the offense every week. It's steady. The difference is Joe Mixon does not get the same usage in the offense every week. 12 carries, 11 carries, 21 carries, 13, 22 carries. At least he's involved a little bit in the passing game, but it leads you to these type of score lines where it's like 8, 31, 18, 9. He's kind of all over the board, and for the price that he is, I'm not buying. James Conner, I do like that he's priced down here. Super high floor. Against Jacksonville, obviously didn't get there, dropped a touchdown pass at the end of the game that would have made this essentially a 20-point day for James Conner against Jacksonville. At 7,800, I don't hate it. Leonard Fournette against Buffalo. Buffalo has been tough, but it's really hard to ignore a 30-touch running back on a week-in, week-out basis, guys. And he's only 6,700. How do we not? How do we not do this? How do we not just plow him into a lineup here and just say, screw it? At 6,700, you're going to give me 25 plus touches for 6,700, and I'm going to say no? Nick Chubb on the road. Dude's gotten 20 touches each of the last 3 weeks, 20 plus touches each of the last 3 weeks. Game-breaking ability, big play ability. We saw that on that 92-yard run. He had another one called back earlier this season on a really long run. I don't hate this. I don't hate him at 6,300. You could just pile up Leonard Fournette and Chubb and get yourself 50 touches between the two of them. Sony Michel, Matt Breida, another explosive back against Tampa Bay. This looks like the plug to me with Matt Breida. As good as he is, if he can kind of just not get hurt, Tampa Bay has been, and Atlanta have been the giving tree. If he's going to get 20 touches, if he gets 15 plus touches, it's going to be difficult for him to not pay off against Tampa Bay. If I wanted to go with a third running back, let me plug Melvin Gordon into the flex. Is it going to be Chubb or Fournette, chat? What do you think? What do you want, Chubb or Fournette? We could go with both. Looking for some cheaper options. Gus Edwards, Jesus. I'll tell you what, if Baltimore runs it the way that they ran it this week, this is one of those things where you have to wait. Did he get hurt? Whatever. Revenge versus Hugh? Ooh. Interesting. I mean, we could go with Chubb. We could go with Fournette. You guys know me. I have to go with the volume guy. I kind of have to. We could get cheaper. We could eschew Gordon and go with Fournette and Breida, or Fournette and Chubb here if we need to save money. But we'll take a look at that later. Let's take a look at a defense. Don't really care. You know, we could go with the Bills at 2,700. They look all right. Indy against Miami. I just want a 3K defense so that we can move on. Pats, same idea. I don't spend time on defense in first look because it's kind of irrelevant. You have to wait for injuries and everything else. Tight end, the Wasteland. Who's up top? Zach Ertz. Of course he is. Against the Giants. 9 targets in their first game. The Giants used to be a team that we would flowchart tight ends against and just plug and play them because they would give up a touchdown all the time. They've tightened up their defense so far this season. Zach Ertz, not your normal human tight end, though, and in a massive bounce back spot coming off of a ridiculous beating that they took, 41-point beating that they took to New Orleans. This is not a get well spot, but this is a get right spot where these are grown men and they're a little bit embarrassed and they've got to really get after it this week. Chat says flop lag on Ertz. I don't really disagree, but like, not an incorrect usage of flop lag either. It's just it's probably a better spot for Ertz here. George Kittle against Tampa Bay, same idea, but 6,200. I think he's more GPP viable than cash game viable, but you could, if there's enough value at wide receiver, you could definitely do that. Jared Cook going to see a lot of volume, more than that 2 to 5 volume now with everybody injured. LaFell went down. They traded Amari Cooper. Jordy Nelson, if he doesn't play, Cook looks to be a guy who should get theoretically 5+, 6+ targets, albeit Baltimore a pretty tough defense overall, and this could just be a smash spot for that defense going up against the Raiders. Greg Olsen, Vance McDonald against Denver, got 6 looks last week. He's getting heavy involvement in the passing game. If you don't want to take a 0 at tight end, like most people have been taking less than 2 points at tight end, Vance McDonald, I don't hate it. Evan Ingram, volume up and down. The one that I really like this week, right here. I'm probably just going to fall for the Jack Doyle bait again. He's playing the majority of the snaps, even with Ebron still there. He's getting the majority of the routes run and the majority of the targets at the position. He just hasn't had a great week, 2 straight weeks. This week at home against Miami, I'm fine with Doyle there. Is there a cheaper tight end that we can jump on here? And Njoku at 3,800 against Cincinnati. Again, volume issues for me, but I'm definitely going to have shares of him. Brait, no thank you. Huerman, 5 more targets last week, going up against Pittsburgh, who's been a little bit soft against opposing tight ends from time to time. CJ Uzomah, just not my style of player. Ricky Seals-Jones, priced up to 3,100 against the Chargers. Herndon, Gates. How about the old man? How about the old man this week? Antonio Gates. 5 catches on 7 targets for 2,500. He's 2,900 this week. Again, one of my favorite players of all time. I'm not saying to play him this week. He's just one of my favorite players of all time, and I will always celebrate Antonio Gates' big games. It's one of the things that goes along with watching or listening to my content. Oh, is OJ out? Did I miss that? Suffered an ankle injury. If he move, okay. If OJ Howard misses time, then I am okay with Brait. Okay? If OJ Howard does not miss time, if OJ Howard is there, I am not on Brait at all. Brait is the Buccaneers version of Eric Ebron to me. I will only play him if the starter is out. If the primary guy is out, then I'll play him. Chat says I got to stay on brand regarding Antonio Gates. I don't disagree. We got 5,400 remaining for our wide receivers. Chat, shout out some value guys that you want to target this week. Who do you like at wide receiver? Odell Beckham Jr., somebody that I probably want to target, coming off of a 4-target game where he's still at 18.5 DraftKings points. Great efficiency, 2 straight games in the 70s, caught a touchdown again, 6 touchdowns on the year, 21.4 DraftKings points on the season, but 8.8K. I'm sure we can find somebody with a little bit better value. Antonio Brown against Denver. He was getting shut down for most of this game and then not. Juju Smith-Schuster, same sort of situation, 10 targets. Good player, 7,500. Keenan Allen, 7,100, and I think you know you're going to get a ton of volume. 24 points 2 weeks ago, 24 points, or 3 weeks ago, 24 points last week, and over the course of that time, 31 total targets. I'll take a double-digit target guy pretty much all the time. T.Y. Hilton, 6,500. Josh Gordon. If Gronk is out, how do you not? For 6,400. If Gronk is out, how do you not? Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry. Man, Jarvis Landry is like the siren that keeps playing that song and pulling everybody over to the rocks for like the last 3 weeks. John Brown, not if they're only going to throw the ball, only in a GPP for me. Goodwin. Not with the quarterback situation. Larry Fitzgerald has seen a bit of a resurgence under the Byron Leftwich offense. Did catch a touchdown, which salvaged his day. Golden Tate, not yet fully deployed for Philly. DJ Moore up to 4,600. 8 targets last week, y'all. Massive game for the rookie. Had one catch where he kind of popped the flat on the 10-yard line, got caught from behind. Ryan Clark tweeted out, you got to get yourself into the end zone on that one. What do we need here from him? Like, this is still in play, guys. I think a lot of people are going to see this and jump right back on this. He could post a 20-point fantasy day against Seattle, but he could do this. He could go 4 for 5 with like 40 yards. He could post a 9-point fantasy day. Like, it's not as safe as I think people want to believe. What do they have the Raiders? Somebody brought this up in chat. What do they have the Raiders guys priced at? Aitman had himself a solid day, and with LaFell out, he should see a ton of looks. 3,100, I think that's our value guy. At least from a first look point of view to plug and play and maybe be able to reach up, right? He's not going to be a game breaker, but he's big. He's 6'4", and if he's going to run a ton of routes and play a ton of snaps, with LaFell done and Bryant out and Jordy out, and it's like, he's gonna start. He's gonna play a ton of snaps, and he's 3,100 on a team that's gonna have to throw. The matchup sucks. Is really the only problem. But the volume, if he gets you 8 fantasy points, which is not out of the realm of possibility, to be able to afford all the other guys, I'm not mad at all. Cortland Sutton, 4,400. Still just hasn't had a breakout game. Like this line right here, 10.8, 8.7, 10.8, that there could just be Aitman's stats for 3,100. Why would I pay 4,400 for that? I kind of want to get Keenan Allen in there. I do. You know what we could do? Keenan Allen plays in the slot, and that means that he's not going to get shadowed there. What if we do this, chat? I know this is a little bit off-brand for me, but what if we do this? Can we afford them? We can find a defense down here. I mean, I don't hate it. I really don't hate it, chat. 25 plus carries, 15 plus carry, or 25 plus touches, 15 plus touches against a really soft defense, 20 plus touches against a really soft defense. Though on the road, Chubb is the one that scares me out of the 3 running backs. Aitman's a pure punt, hoping for 7 to 12 points out of him. Keenan Allen should get me 10 plus targets. Odell Beckham should get me 10 plus targets. Jack Doyle, Hopefully he can get off the schneid that he's been on the last 2 weeks and come up on the right side of variance with the amount of snaps that he's running. And Tampa Bay has turned the ball over so damn much this year that how do you not play every defense that plays against him? I don't hate it at all. This is a solid first look for me. I like it. Hopefully you guys have yourselves a great Thanksgiving week. Check out my other videos. I got a Thanksgiving first look if you're watching this before Thanksgiving. If it's after Thanksgiving, appreciate you being here. Hope you had yourselves a happy Thanksgiving, had a great time with family, and ate some good food. Please click that subscribe button before you leave. Here's one more video for you guys to check out, and I'll catch up to you later. Bye, everybody.